Hello, and welcome to the Institute. And yes, I am back on the grind on making DVD reviews, and bloody hell, it's been a while. And yes, I've decided to shake up the format and do it in a much more professional way, with a lot better editing than before, because I didn't know how to edit previously, but now I do. It's great, and I'm going to be reviewing Death to the Daleks. Now, this was in the long line of stuff that I needed to review out of the Bowl of Doom, which is now deceased. Yeah, there won't be any more random picking out random stories as reviews, but I will be getting back on the grind of reviewing these DVDs, and I'll get more onto that after I've done this review. So yeah, let's get on with the review of Death to the Daleks, starting with looking at the cover. So, on to the packaging of the DVD cover. So, obviously, as you can see, we have the Doctor Who logo. We have Death to the Daleks there. We have a Dalek, John Pertwee, then we have John Pertwee again at the bottom, with John Pertwee is written next to it. We have the BBC DVD logo right there. Moving on to the spine, we have Death to the Daleks written again with the To Entertain logo. Then we have Pertwee yet again, and then it says Doctor Who there. So, and then onto the spine, we have Death to the Daleks, Doctor Who again. Then we have the blurb, we have the stuff about the special features, we have some legal garbage there, and then we have some other details of the production. We have sort of a couple nice pretty photos on the top, which is very nice. So now moving on to the interior, we have the disc there, it's only one disc, and then moving on to the leaflet, see it has the Doctor Who logo there, Death to the Daleks written yet again. You have the picture of a really cool looking Dalek that's getting blown up. Then we have John Pertwee yet again, written John Pertwee is down there. And then we have a little synopsis of this story, except a little bit more lengthened than the one on the back of the DVD cover. And on the interior we have a couple extra details about the special features, including interviews and stuff, and it has a lot of information about other Doctor Who stories that are out there. And then on the back we have the chapter points, and apart from that, that's pretty much it really. So that's the DVD cover done and dusted. Let's move on to the in-depth review. So yes, going through the synopsis really quickly, the Doctor and Sarah land on a planet called Exelon, and they find this really well-kept, pristine city which is uninhabited. And then they also find that there's this conflict between two Exelon factions, the Cave Dwellers as I like to call them, and the City Worshippers as I also like to call the other faction, because I don't think there's an official name for each faction, but there you go, so there's that. And the Daleks want something from the city, which creates this real mystery of what is so special about this city. Why is there nobody there? Why is it still pristine when the rest of the world is in ruins? And what do the Daleks want from it? And also, speaking of which, the Daleks, I love their entrance, it's very well done. One of my favourite cliffhangers actually, very underrated. Going back onto the synopsis, there is a plague that's going around the universe and affecting different species, such as the Daleks, which we later see, and humans, which is cool, which creates this really good dynamic in the story, which leads through to betrayal and deceit throughout the story, which is a really cool sort of feature, which really does bring an extra sort of edge to the story, which I really like. So the story kicks off to a great start with the TARDIS power being drained, which is a really interesting thing which hasn't really been done too much in the past of the show, which is really cool to think that what is so powerful that's draining the TARDIS of all its energy. So near the start of the story we see the expedition crew of obviously the humans, and we get the picture that, well, there's a plague and they need to find the mineral that can cure the plague, which is on Exelon, the planet they're on, which really does give a purpose for the expedition crew to be there, rather than just slotting them in there just because. It's an overarching theme of this story with the plague, and it does link back to the Daleks, which is really clever, personally. I really like that. So the Doctor goes out, since the power's been drained from the TARDIS, and he gets attacked by a polystyrene rock. LOL. And further on in the story, we get some hints that these creatures exist that live on the planet, those being the Exelons. And we meet the crew, the crew, and then, after we meet that crew, we meet the Daleks, which creates a really cool cliffhanger, like I said. Going back to the expedition crew with the humans, I think I really like it because it creates a really cool dynamic, not just with the humans and the Daleks, but the fact that the character Galloway he's an arse, and he doesn't admit it until he makes the sacrifice, which is cool. He redeems himself. You always need a character that you hate, but then redeems themselves. That is a good overarching like storyline for the character, for like character development. That's what I was trying to say. So once the Daleks come into the picture, there comes that alliance between the humans and the Daleks, with their wanting to find the cure to the plague, which is cool, and they end up overthrowing the Doctor and Sarah to the city worshippers, as I call them, and that's great, isn't it? They're very nice people. But I mean, in all seriousness, I think it does take the Doctor down a really cool path. He has to go into the caves, and then he meets that other guy. Forgotten his name, but he was a cave dweller, as I call him. Bilal, that's the name. Bilal. He meets Bilal in the cave after a couple of his guys save the Doctor, which is cool. It's very cool. So obviously after that, Bilal and the Doctor head off to the city, and they are being chased by the Daleks, which creates this cool tension, which I don't have to point out. And they go through a series of obstacles. I think it's kind of stupid that some of the obstacles are a little bit, like, too easy. And yet you see so many skeletons. Like, you see people have died here because they couldn't figure out the simplest puzzle. Which is a bit hard to believe, I guess. Like, that creates a little bit of... I don't know, it doesn't feel as much as... It doesn't feel as serious, because they're such easy... like pub quizzes, that's a reference to 42. But yeah, it's just like, and obviously, their adventure in the city leads to the best cliffhanger of all time.
Stop! Don't move.
Oh, there's a red and white checkerboard on the floor. No! In all seriousness, no, that is a stupid cliffhanger, you have to admit. I mean, they could have just went forwards to when they got to the control room and they encountered the Daleks. They could have thought of a much better cliffhanger than that. That is just pathetic. I think even the writing team are ashamed of that one. But either way, after that, they get to the control room and they see how the city is done, and then they blow it up. Except it doesn't blow up, it kind of deflates and melts. Which is kind of odd. Considering it's a city, it's not sponge or... Anyway, after that, obviously the story comes to a close with Galloway's a sacrifice, which is cool, and that really does round off the episode really well. And the story is well structured, I'll give it that, even though the cliffhanger at the end is pretty naff. Oh no! I see the checkerboard! It's coming for me! I feel like some of the human expedition crew could have been used a bit more. For example, you only really saw, forgotten her name, but you know who I'm talking about, her, as in she, the person who is contradicting Galloway all the time. Apart from those two, Galloway and the other woman, none of them are really used. You just kind of see one or two of them in the background occasionally when you think they died 10 minutes ago from something else, like the Exelons or the Daleks. You're like, what? I thought you already died. But no, that isn't the case, apparently. Honestly though, I have to give the story credit for its set design, because it is one of the better set designed stories, because like it feels real. Like the planet, when you're outside on the planet's surface in the story, it does really feel real, and they didn't really cut back on costs there. And apart from the polystyrene rock and the shitty cliffhanger, it's all good. The score is exceptionally good. I absolutely love the suit for this story. I'm playing it right now over this video, and oh, it's so good. It's such an iconic tune for the Daleks, and it's brilliant. I love the score. It's so good. The acting is very good, actually. Paul, the actor of Bella, didn't get to do as much acting as he'd hoped because he was stuck in a rubber costume, which is a shame, but you know, he was still good acting. Everybody was on top form acting. It's brilliant. And the Daleks are great in this. I mean, I love the design for them. I love the colour scheme. It's one of my favourite colour schemes for the Daleks, actually. It's really cool. I love the silver and black. It really does create a sort of edge to them, like they are more deadly in this story. I don't know why, just because. Pertwee's absolutely fantastic. He really has come into his own as a Doctor, I mean, he literally just threw himself into the role and spearhead from space. He's brilliant all the way through, and this story is no exception. He's brilliant in this one. And going back to the set design, I have to keep expressing this. Like, the set design is really well done for this story. I mean, it is really believable. I mean, and the fact that, and even the use of lighting and smoke, and in when the TARDIS has run out of power, that was really well done, actually. That is really, really well done. And the story is well structured as well. Like, I feel like 4 parts really does suit this story. It's not too long, it's not too short. It's the perfect sort of length. If they could only plan out better cliffhangers. Oh no, the tile of... White tile is back, oh no! So yeah, Death to the Daleks is a really solid story. It's probably my favourite Dalek story from the Pertwee years, actually. It's a really, really good one. With that said, I'm going to give Death to the Daleks a solid 7 out of 10. It's a really decent story, labelled decent. So yes, there was the review of Death to the Daleks. I hope you enjoyed, and yeah, so that is done then. Before we end this video though, I have to give you a quick message about updates with the DVD reviews and whatnot. So yes, the Bowl of Doom is gone. What a shame. That means that I won't be picking out DVD reviews at random anymore. I will be taking suggestions from you guys or picking my own stories to review. Like my favourites like Genesis or Remembrance or Moonbase, you get the idea. So yeah, no more random picking from the bowl because it only limited my enthusiasm to it, and now that I've done my final random review, which is Death to the Daleks, I'm going to try and catch up with some of the other requests of reviews that there are. For example, Planet of the Daleks, which was requested by a viewer about 5 months ago. Which is really, really bad of me that I still haven't reviewed Planet of the Daleks, and so I'm going to do that hopefully next. Hopefully that is my next DVD review. I can't promise though, but I'm going to try to, because I need to catch up with some of these suggestions, and I'm sorry that I haven't sooner. But now that the Bowl of Doom is gone, I'm going to take DVD review suggestions, so put them in the comments guys, and I'll hopefully get to them soon. But there you go. That's it. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.